Hello, my name is Gail Wilhite. I live at the France Climber in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, you can go to MySpace, where I have a page. This here is about stopping nuclear weapons from reaching the United States by ship. There is a way that we can possibly do this, although there's no guarantee. You know, first of all, let me state that we do primarily most of our inspections of cargo from overseas, you know, at our docks, you know, here in the United States. We need to change that. What we need to do is to start building Coast Guard stations hundreds of miles, maybe even several hundred miles out to sea in like the Pacific or the Atlantic. These Coast Guard stations would be located near shipping lanes, and their primary purpose is to inspect cargo being brought on by ships that might be suspect, or it could be random. If terrorists have somehow managed to slip nuclear weapons on one of these cargo ships with a way to detonate it once it reaches its destination, possibly we could stop it out there if we're able to find it. That would be the only way that I can think of that we could stop terrorists, at least not entirely, but at least partially, from using some cargo ship of some kind, even an oil tanker, to place a nuclear weapon on and then detonate it once it reaches the United States of America. The Coast Guard stations would be something like our oil rigs, you know, that we have south of Louisiana, just out there in the Gulf. I think some of them are just located like 50 miles off in the Gulf. And that's a place where people of the Coast Guard, men and women, would live, eat, and sleep. It has to be specially built, and it's going to have to be a little bit bigger than just an oil rig, I'm pretty sure. At least eventually it will have to be bigger. And they will have to have, their ships are going to have to be just a little bit bigger than the regular Coast Guard ships that they have now, or Coast Guard cutters and things like that. That's just something that the military and the government will have to figure out. But the point I'm trying to make is that we can stop nuclear weapons possibly from reaching the United States by placing Coast Guard stations out to sea, and they can be built near shipping lanes, in which they have the authority and the power to stop any ship heading towards the United States, or maybe even to another country, if another country asks, or if there's just something suspicious about that ship. And it can be boarded. Now, let's say it's detonated out there. Of course, all those Coast Guard personnel are probably going to be killed. And I'd say definitely killed. Well, it's better that it's done out there than it's done in New York Harbor, or in Jacksonville, or in LA. You see what I'm saying? Again, this will not this will not guarantee anything, but it makes it harder for the terrorists to do that, because that's one of the fears that our government has, is that some of this cargo that's coming in, one day it's going to have a nuclear weapon on it, and as soon as it reaches here, and it may be even picked up, and they may wait till it's shipped somewhere. It could be shipped into Pittsburgh, St. Louis, down to Atlanta, and then detonated. It's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And what I'm trying to say is that by putting Coast Guard stations out in shipping lanes, and maybe one day all the ships that come to America have to go through the shipping lanes if they want to deliver their cargo here, that may be the place to possibly prevent nuclear weapons from being detonated here in the United States. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what needs to be done. Again, I'm not going to get into the logistics of it all, but it's something that I think would work, and it's going to just make it just harder for the terrorists, is all I'm saying. Or a terrorist nation like Iran, who would not hesitate to do that if we attacked them or if Israel attacks them. Because if Israel attacks Iran, their sleeper cells here in the United States may start attacking us. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And right now, we don't have a president that's strong enough to deal with this, I believe. He just doesn't have the experience. He has no experience, no knowledge. And he hasn't really brought anybody in that does. Unfortunately, he picked Biden. He could have picked a lot better people or a person than him to give him the real strong backing that he needs to deal with terrorists and the terrorist nations like Iran. But nonetheless, a Coast Guard station, I call it Ocean Coast Guard stations. Please, if they ever do this, please write your congressman, whatever. Don't make it part of the UN. We don't need those idiots from the UN, those thugs from the UN, as having any role in it. This needs to be American only. We can be allied with our NATO allies. We can be allied with our Central American allies. It doesn't matter. Or with our Asian allies, but not the UN. We don't need these idiots up there and thugs, because, like I said, they're just a bunch of Tinkerbells anyway, and they can't. They're just criminals, in my opinion. Their intentions may be good. There may be good people at the UN, but it's run by a bunch of corrupt thugs, and we don't need that. But what we do need is to build Coast Guard stations out to sea, hundreds of miles, to possibly stop a suspected ship that might be carrying nuclear weapons to the United States. It's better it happens way out there than over here. Thank you for your time.